Chapter 4, My Own Personal Nineveh. I thought that since I wasn't a fit where I was and some of my best spiritual gifts were being wasted, it was time to move along and find my future, which I hoped would be some blissful ministry with Jesus somewhere exotic. I was counting on the affirmations that all those people had been telling me, saying, God has something better for you. They couldn't be wrong, but they were. We knew early on that 2008 would be a big year for us. The current church would move into its new facility that year. Our two oldest, the twins, were going to graduate high school. The two younger daughters would be entering their freshman and sophomore years that coming September, and our son was going to enter sixth grade. Sixth grade is the beginning of middle school in California. In 2007, we knew we had 1 year before all that change would go down, and then the window of opportunity to make a big location change would close. The summer of 2008 was crucial to make something happen. We had little more than a year for God to reveal to us His perfect will and plan. In the early part of 2007, I was sending out resumes to find God's perfect fit for me when the housing market crashed like a wet cardboard box full of your favorite china. Our house lost over $250,000 of value, which it probably never really had thanks to the shysters in the banking and appraisal industry. I still had no offers for work and could see the writing on the wall. My family was in financial freefall with no parachute. By the time the twins were graduating, it was apparent that we couldn't stay in our home and there was nowhere to go. I had no offers, no interviews, and no opportunities. We began talking about what we would do. The schools were in crisis, the job market in the hole. The home we lived in for 17 years but only managed to buy 3 years before was going to be lost. We discussed what was most important in life and decided that church had eaten up so much of our life in years, always coming first, always driving our most important decisions, that we were sick of investing in it. We just didn't want to drag the family behind that horse anymore. I had looked and searched for some other opportunity only to discover that the career path I had followed, ministry, didn't want me. We asked ourselves, what if we put the kids totally first? What if we picked a lifestyle in a place they wanted? For our son, that meant the rugged outdoors. What if we picked somewhere to live where the schools were better? How about where they had extended family? We had lived so far from other relatives for all their lives because of church ministry that they didn't really know their cousins, aunts, uncles, or grandparents all that well. In the summer of 2008, we quit the job, short-sold our home, and moved lock, stock, and barrel back to Spokane, Washington. At the time, we had no jobs to go to, nowhere to live, and no known future. Our plan was to put our stuff in storage, stay with relatives or in a hotel, let the kids pick the school they wanted to attend, and then find a place to rent in that district while looking for jobs to support us. We were going to simply crash land and start over in life. We had about 3 months of savings. We just knew we wanted out of ministry. It had not produced a good life for us after investing so much. I was not anxious to go to Spokane. It wasn't a great place for me, what with it holding bad memories from my first 25-plus years of growing up there. I had left 20 years before, vowing never to go back. The prophet Jonah was told by God to go to the city of Nineveh and proclaim God there. He hated that place so much he got on a boat to go the opposite direction. Spokane was my Nineveh. But the extended family wanted us so much they paid for a moving truck to get us there. One of my oldest friends owned several rental homes. Days before moving, he called saying one just became vacant and we could stay there with our stuff, paying whatever we could for rent until we got settled. It was in a neighborhood full of the kind of people who would guest star on Jerry Springer. But the deal was good. It was just the kind of brief rescue we needed. Upon arrival, my mom, who now lived in Arizona most of the year, ended up selling a building in downtown Spokane she hadn't planned to sell, but the offer was too good to turn down. She reinvested the capital gains in a house of our choosing located in a school district the kids picked. We only needed jobs to complete our transition. I thought my wife had a better chance than I to get a job with her administrative corporate skill set. That would turn out to be wrong. We settled into the rental, got the kids registered in a school of their choice, and began looking for work. At the same time, we were looking for a house to reinvest the capital gains my mom had. I was more than nervous being asked what payments I could afford when neither my wife nor I had a job. I don't recommend this strategy as a life plan. Spokane was always a cursed job market for me, and that's one of the reasons I left, vowing never to go back. It held too many memories of living in poverty, scraping by to make a living. We hit Craigslist and the newspaper every day while trying to tap every friendship or connection I ever had to find a job so we could restart our lives. Tanya, my wife, has a skill set in hospitality, administration, and organization. She was applying for 20 or so positions a day and getting almost nowhere. We couldn't even get a return call or an email response saying, "Thank you for your application." It was frustrating. Out of 20 jobs listed, only 3 or 4 mentioned specifically the name of the company and where to apply. One afternoon, Tanya went downtown to a cute little boutique hotel that had an open front desk position. We went together and I waited at the back of the lobby while she walked up to the main desk to hand in a resume and fill out an application. When she finished, she just handed the pieces of paper back across the counter to this pretty girl who had all the personality of oatmeal. Tanya then turned and walked out. I caught her at the door. "What are you doing? You know better than that. Have her call the manager down, hand her application to him, and chit-chat for a moment or two. You know you're not strong on paper, but you are in person. That girl's going to file your resume under a pile of papers, which the manager will never see. Or she'll simply trash it. Come on, baby, you know better than that." "No, I don't think so. I can feel the energy here. It's really bad, and I don't think I want the job anyway," she retorted. Tanya has a very strong spiritual gift of discernment. She's always right. The place would turn out to sell to another hotel 30 days later, and they would lay off the entire staff to restart. But at that time, we didn't know that. "Look, honey, we can't be choosy right now," I pressed her. "One of us needs a job fast. We're out of savings in about a month, and we need to get some income, or we will be in a world of hurt. Take the job, and if it stinks, keep looking until you find something better." She then started giving me grief about how she was doing all the work to find a job, and I was doing nothing. Of course, I informed her how wrong she was. I only knew church work for the last 20-plus years, and getting a job in ministry was different. If you want me to get a job doing what I've always done, then I need to network people and meet pastors and discover who has positions open and what kind of churches they are and so forth and so on. It's all done by personal networking in the ministry world, I explained in an exasperated fashion. A guy doesn't just look up pastor on Craigslist. You don't find ministry jobs by reading the newspaper want ads, I admonished. Even after my intelligent explanations, she still wouldn't listen to me. Can you imagine? So I told her I would dig a resume out of my briefcase in the back seat and drop it off at the first church we saw.